The debate went on, should JAM allow 16 or 18? Should universities and polytechnics and University of College, how do they say, University of Education, right? That's how they call it now, right? Uh, if they should allow people beyond or be below 18 get into these institutions. And then we ended up saying 16. And I think recently also there was a statement by the Association of Vice Chancellors, if I remember correctly, saying the age should be 16. I stand to be corrected. And so we agreed 16. But if a child should now get into JSS1 at 12, 16 can no longer be the entry age into tertiary institutions. If the policy is that the age to get into JSS1 is 12, then, because in my time and in a lot of other people's time, I want to think, if you want to date back, 11, right? If you want to say 6 years primary school, 11 was the age. Or maybe 10, because for people like us, we did 10 years into JSS1. You're then thinking, nursery is supposed to be what, 2-3 years, right? Even though it's not captured in that education policy. But let's say a child starts school at 2, even though the guest I had at the time had said the best age is to start at 3. If a child starts at 2 or 3, by the time they get to primary 1, that should be 5 to 6 years, right? And so 5 to 6 years, 6 years of secondary or primary school will then make it 11 or 12 years. So imagine if I start school at 2 and I finish primary 6 at 11, I would have to wait 1 more year to get into JSS1, into junior secondary 1. And it probably would be compulsory for me to finish up until SS3 before I can sit for exams like JAM or WIAC so I can get into the university. What does this now mean for the system, for the structure that we have in the country? Because we know a lot of people skip classes. Primary 6, for instance, is one of the most skipped classes in Nigeria. I don't believe that there are a lot of people who do primary 6 in Nigeria. I stand to be corrected, and that's why we have in the show, right? People do 5 years in primary school. Some people don't even do 6 years in secondary school. They do 5 years secondary school, right, from SS2. All of that is going to change. And I'm wondering, is this going to be a good thing? Is this going to be a bad thing? Because there are several reasons why people skip classes. One, the brilliance of the student or people, depending on what level. The brilliance of this person can determine if this person is bigger than the class the person is in. There is the talk about financial capability. A lot of people want their children to get done with school as quickly as possible because of the financial burden it brings on the parents. So, like I said, there are a plethora of reasons why, skipping classes. Some people want their children to be done with school early enough because, yet again, remember, when you're done at 12 for primary school and you get into the GSS, then you're done with junior secondary school and you get into the SS, you probably were done by, 18 years. And you get into university, 18 years, 22, if you're doing a 4-year course, and then you go for 1 year service, 23, 24. And then you start looking for a job. Remember, at 24, 25, the companies are asking you to apply with 2-3 years experience. These are the issues. So I don't know what your thoughts are. Should age be a determining factor in learning? Because some people will tell you catch them young, teach them young, because the earlier. I mean, when you watch videos on TikTok, Chinese people educating their children, you would see that from a young age, they're already giving them very complex subjects to learn. they're learning physics and, very complex, once again, subjects to learn at such a young age. You see that a lot on social media. So I can't help but ask the question, is age a determining factor, or should it be a determining factor as to learning what class, or I don't know, because if I'm homeschooling, if a child is homeschooled, the child can decide to learn, as we see in some of the Western countries, can decide to learn, different subjects, different ways, different styles, and must not follow, curriculums as done in their state schools or private schools. And by the way, this law by the Ministry of Education is not just for public schools. It will also impact and affect, private schools. So maybe I just read the news article very quickly, open the phone lines, and get thoughts and contributions, because I do have another commercial coming up in a bit. So I'm going to try to milk this conversation as much as I can, because I love to hear what you think about this. And, for those of you who are my age, or you're way past schooling, right, you're done with university, and you could still help enrich this conversation. Look back at your time and see what entailed at that time, what was working at that time. And look back, do you think you would have done better in your grades if your parents had allowed you reach a certain age? Because I'm also looking, maybe if my mind was a bit developed, the mathematics I always ran away from, I could have been able to grasp it and calculate it. So, maybe the students who are also not doing very well is because of the slow development of their mind. And if they were allowed to reach a certain age, just maybe they would have been able to get and grasp what their teachers were teaching in the classroom. Well, according to the Vanguard's article, the federal government has introduced a new guideline as the minimum age for admission into junior secondary school 1 following completion of 6 years of primary education. Now, the directive is contained in a newly released policy document on non-state schools, which was launched last week by the Federal Ministry of Education. Non-state schools, also known as private, independent, or non-government schools, are those not operated by government authorities and are typically funded through tuition, donations, and support from individuals, communities, religious groups, businesses, and charitable foundations. Now, the policy highlights the increasing significance of these schools in delivering education across Nigeria, despite notable differences in standards and quality among them. Now, providing a breakdown of age-based progression in early education, the ministry stated, nursery education shall be 3 years, like I already explained. Children shall be admitted into nursery 1 when they attain the age of 3 years, nursery 2 on attaining the age of 4, and 1 year of compulsory pre-primary education on attaining the age of 5 years, in accordance with the specification of Section 2, subsection 17 of the NPE 2013 edition. On the primary and junior secondary school transition, the policy adds basic education shall be 9 years duration. There shall be a 6-year primary and a 3-year junior secondary school. Children shall be admitted into primary 1 when they attain the age of 6. Every child must complete 6 years of primary education. They shall be admitted into junior secondary school when they have completed 6 years of primary education at around the age of 12 years. By implication, students will be expected to complete secondary education at about 18 years, aligning with the previously suggested age for university admission. Former Education Minister Professor Tahir Mamman had previously declared 18 years as the minimum age for university entry although the current minister, Dr. Alausa, has since revised the threshold back to 16 years. All right, so there's also the nursery part of the arguments that we should have. A lot of parents are working, not like back in our days when we had our parents having time to cater for us after school. So parents would find it difficult because they need their children to go back. They need the children to go to school so that they can go back to work, especially the women, especially the ladies. How will this impact ladies who are career-driven and are trying to build a home? If you say 3 years, that's the woman would have to keep the child in the house for 3 years. Like, I remember my time, I think I was 2 by the time I started nursery school. So I don't know how this works, but I want to get your thoughts. 3 years nursery, 6 years primary, 3 years junior secondary, 3 years senior secondary, and a minimum of 4 years tertiary. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. I'll take one call, and after that commercial, when I do come back, we'll continue with our conversation. How do you think parents, how would this impact the parents? Because a lot of parents are very busy, and the way that they get to sort these things out sometimes is early education for the children. And I'm also asking a question: do we need age as a restriction to learning, or should age be a factor? Because maybe the more developed the mind, the easier it is to learn. Clinton from Bori. Clinton, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Kalada,
Or
let
is
me
it
start
evening?
from your last statement.
Yeah.
The more developed the mind, the more easier it is for these children to be able to grasp certain things after things have been taught at that level.
Okay.
So I think that structuring our educational system is a good thing to do.
But Clinton, some of the things I remember from schooling are the things I learned early age, right? My foundation was solid. And speaking English, mathematics, calculation, some of the things I learned when I was, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it stuck early, what they say, catch them young.
You had a solid foundation, Canada. Most
Okay.
of us did.
Okay.
But is that what is obtainable currently now? I think that the Nigerian education system needs restructuring, and it should be done immediately.
Okay.
So this move by the federal government is a very timely one, because if you look at what is going on now, a lot of decline. JAM have really fallen, as in the level that it was before, it's no longer the level it is today. So I think that restructuring is very, very timely, and it's what we need as a country going forward.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Clinton is calling for restructuring in the educational sector. But does this also mean that parents would have to play major roles now in the development of the children? Because, if children have to stay at home first 3 years of their lives before school, it means that the parents would have a lot to teach. Anyways, I do have a commercial coming up. When I come back, like I promised, we'll talk some more about this. Important it is. Education is power, right? We'll talk about power when we come back. Do stay tuned.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
looking at education and the new policy, age-related policy, and according to the law, looking at it from that article, it's like I said, the 6334 system, or should I say 36334 system. At age 3, you get your child into nursery, and then get your child into primary at age 6, and at age 12, you get him into JSS1. And 18, you're ready to get into the university, a minimum of 18, by the way. And I'm wondering, what's the impact like? Impact on parents, impact on the educational sector, impact on the children or the pupils or students. Do you think this is a great one? Because, some are arguing for a matured mind to be able to learn. Some are saying if you develop the brain through learning, it's easier to learn. Because I was one of the people who I got developed through learning. I didn't wait for my brain to mature. This taught me while, the brain was trying to mature. Mira from Okrika. Mira, welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome. What's on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Thank you. JDB, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
JDB, how can anyone restrict a child from learning?
How do you mean?
Learning something good and profitable because of age. Now, yeah, we know there are some things that may be too much, for a child, but not in terms of education, just normal educational kicks and educational. It's just like stopping your child from using a computer.
But some studies say your child certain ages should not be using computers. As a matter of fact, children should not be allowed. I think there's a study like that. Should not. I mean, there are counter studies, but there's a study like that, basically.
Well, are we saying this because we are in Africa? We just here in Africa. Yeah, some people are saying, when it comes to smartphones, you don't read your smartphones. But trust me, KDB, some learnings they do, especially in after this the US and some parts of this world, they use computer.
Yeah, coding and all of that.
Kindergarten age.
Yeah.
There are children computer. We know where some things. There are some apps that will not be installed there, but you don't stop your child. Do you know, KDB, that some children are born as geniuses, very smart. Now, a government to tell that child, or a parent to tell that child, no, you don't need to read the JSS1 books, or don't read the primary 6 books, you're still in primary 3. But when the child's cognitive ability can be able to assimilate and learn, and the child can learn that and understand. Some children can read and understand themselves, can learn themselves, can teach themselves. So you say a child should not. Now, do you know the reason they gave? They say because when they go to university, that environment, they can't be able to cope because of the...
But that's also, Mira, that's also learning, and I mentioned it. I mean, when you get your certificate, the school tells you that you have met all requirements in learning and in character, remember, in learning and in character. So and I mentioned formal and informal learning. So university, secondary school, primary is not just for grades in terms of academic knowledge, but
the people that are giving us these rules, their children go out of this country at a younger age. They enter different wonderful universities. They don't follow these guidelines. They don't follow these rules. And then they give it to us.
In the UK,
do you think they are trying to suppress our children? Okay, you say these children cannot cope in this environment. What environment? Are you comparing our children with your children?
Okay.
Children that are coming from Job. Children that are coming from the one side, children that are coming from town, different areas, and they've seen it all. They've seen it all in terms of hardship and when it comes to different kind of environment, they've seen it all.
All right.
So what are you not saying that they've not seen?
All right.
Then you say the university environment is too tough for them. What are you saying?
All right, Mira, your point is noted. Let's take another call. Sorry about that. Heart from Elekaya. Heart, welcome. What's on your mind, please?
Well, I think this education, the new policy is kind of dicey, but to me, I don't see anything strange in it.
Okay.
In terms of age, because I think where the government should be concerned more is the policy in place. This age of 18 affects more on those people going to government school, because the private school seems to have a good system where at any point in time, a child can pick, can grab something, whatever you teach. But that of the government school is kind of almost impossible if the environment is not conducive for that child to learn. I think age as well plays more on the government school than the private.
When you say plays, are you saying in terms of understanding? You're saying the kids in government school need matured minds to understand.
Understanding and the strength to undergo the academic activities.
Oh, okay.
For example, in public schools now, they have something they call labor. They must go out to work and all those things. But it's not like that in the private school.
I guess.
So imagine a child that is underage, putting that child, giving the child a cutlass to go and farm, to go and do. This is what I did when I was in secondary school. And imagine somebody who is not matured. But what I was expecting the federal government to do is try to reduce the age where they can finish the secondary school at age 16. Before you get to university, you must have a skill that you will tender as one of the criteria for your admission into that school for 1 year. So that by then you're already 17.
But you see, hard. The conversation about maturity comes when you've gone through a process. Don't you think the process in itself would mature their minds? Not waiting for their minds to mature before they go through the process.
Yes, the process will mature their mind. But now we're looking at the two variables within the government and the private school. It's more workable in the private school.
Okay. All right.
Yes, they can train them from kindergarten. They start learning rhymes.
All right.
They are building their minds. But in the government school, you don't have those things.
All right. Thank you, Hart. Victor from Mile 3. Victor, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you.
I salute you.
I salute you as well.
In the world of knowledge, age has nothing to do there. So if they can even make it to 14 years, it will even be good. It's only an environment where there is no structure, there is no, in an inorganized environment, that is where you talk of somebody going to maturity as dependent on age. If we are looking at that somebody must be 18, 20, then why not we go back to the age where you cross your hand on your neck, on your head, where your hand will need to touch the other part of your ear before you will actually be admitted to even a primary school. All those things.
Victor, are you there? Oh, sorry. I thought the network had caught you up. But let's listen to Caption from Iche. Caption, welcome.
Yes. Alada, I think these policies are, to me, somersault. Because what federal government is supposed to be thinking, how to equip school in every nooks and corners in this country. Alada, if I should tell you this, some people are even ranting why can I in JSS1.
And so those are some of the things maybe they're trying to tackle. Is it right to write or to seat for WAEC at JSS1?
This kind of policy will not stop it. Do you know, my son finished secondary school at 15. I stopped him for writing jam.
So you still don't get the point. If you finish at 15 and you're not yet, wait now, caption.
Cannot withstand university education.
Caption.
Not, yes?
If you finish at SS1 or you sit for the exam at SS1, universities would not take you because according to this law, you have to have reached 18 and you have to show that you had done 6 years of primary and 6 years of secondary school. That's 18 years.
Before I took that decision, I've seen somebody within my neighborhood that entered university at 16.
Okay.
I've seen many.
Okay.
So that wasn't what propelled me to take that decision. I took that decision based on my observation.
Oh, okay.
I said you must not proceed as far as this age is concerned. I get to give you 1 more year for you to proceed. I said that has to do with individual families because the way they are living education now, the way education is in Nigeria, do you know some of them will not even go to school from JSS1 to when their age gets to 14, 15, they will go and register WAEC. That's what is happening. If government is not taking notice of all this, they should build schools, they should innovate schools they should make sure that schools are built every nooks and crannies of this country.
All right.
But it can't just coming up with a policy without infrastructure. That's
All right.
even what makes me angry for this or that policy every year. You talk about 16 years of entering university, you now reduce to 18, you increase this. This does not matter. Let that be holistic policy of making schools available.
All right.
During my time, we have schools in the villages.
All right.
Now, if you come to even the township, you don't even school structures. You don't see computer in school. You are talking about education policy without infrastructure. It doesn't.
All right, Caption, your point is noted. Infrastructure should be the focus. Lawson from Yenigua. Lawson, welcome. What is on your mind?
Kalata, in Nigeria here, we criticize things a lot. With everything that comes, especially if you are on the other side of the divide, it is bad. You know the age at which you can start school in UK?
Tell
UK,
me. Yeah.
God almighty UK. But then you go and check.
No,
When
no.
you will be allowed, the mother will be allowed to carry a child to start primary one. You know the age? People don't understand. Look, is it that they are not looking at this our so-called secondary schools as universities, the kind of things that are going down? Is it that they don't see the cultism, the lesbianism, LGBT generally? You know how it all started today.
So are you saying age is the reason why we have? I don't think age is the reason.
Kalata, let me explain it to you. See, age, you can learn just as a Victor and somebody has said. At any age, you can learn. If learning is there, yes. What about maturity? Kalata, if you are not mature, your mind is not mature.
So
and you are in the university. Do you know that your mind, they can use your mind and change your mind and make you to able to do things that ordinarily you won't do when you are mature. You will not, as well, Kalada. Will anybody tell you to go and carry ballot papers? All these youths that you see, they do all this.
Okay.
It's all over.
All right. I have to go. But the age for starting education, primary school, I think is 5, 4 for reception. In the UK, you ask, so I checks. Primary school is 4 or 5. They start and they do 6 years up until 11. But Braid, quickly, what's on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Yeah, greetings to Mr. Batuo.
Yeah, quickly, please.
Yes, truth is that our education is somersaulting. Yeah, and the somersaulting is caused by the government and the parents. It's not age. I don't look at it that it's age. Look, maturity is not by age. Maturity of mind, that is what is most important.
All right, then. All right, I'm sorry, yes. Braid. I would have to end it there. Majority of mind, you say, but I do have a commercial coming up and I have to go for it. Thank you very much for everyone who's contributed to Stay Tuned.